Folks, holy mackerel. We got Aaron in the house, everybody. What's up, Aaron?
I'm here. Nice to see you, man.
You fired up?
I'm very fired up.
What's got you fired up today?
Doing this and then seeing some friends later.
Yeah.
And just every day is awesome because I do exactly what I want.
Reminds me of that song, Every Day is Awesome. Every Day is Awesome. It's only on YouTube.
Oh, I was thinking every day I'm hustling.
It's the kid version.
Okay.
We'll call it that.
Right.
Yeah.
Rick
Dude,
Ross for kids.
freaking love it. Where'd you drive in from today? What part
Travis
of town?
Heights.
Travis Heights.
Brutal commute of 8 minutes.
I'm saying. You're right down the road.
Yes.
How long you been over there?
3.5 years.
Where'd you come in from?
Like when I moved to Austin from?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mexico right before, but
Right before?
I lived in LA a long time.
LA, Mexico.
Yeah, I was in Playa del Carmen for 7 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then after I left LA, but I'm originally from Alaska.
Alaska.
Yeah.
Home of the halibut.
Home of the halibut and the world's #1 manufacturer and exporter of snow.
Serious.
We just have a lot of bad weather.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was thinking to myself, do they ship snow on the water?
They ship it through the clouds.
You had me thinking for a second. That's good. So today we're going to talk about what it is you do.
Yeah.
I also like to talk about the trials and tribulations of your niche in the industry. Like, what's hard about it? What's easy about it? What are the highs? What are the lows? And then also drop a couple golden nuggets for the listeners of things that they could possibly apply to their everyday life, which will unfold naturally.
Of
Let's
course.
kick it off with the start here.
Let's kick it off.
What is it that you do?
So I'm an executive coach for women, and I help women use their voice to advocate for themselves when their self-worth is on the line.
Yeah. Now, at first glance, let's talk about the elephant in the room. You're a man. You're a man. You're
Yes.
a man. I love that. You're helping women.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. We kind of talk a little bit about the backstory of what ultimately led up to that.
Yeah.
How did you wake up one day and say, I'm going to do this? Or did somebody say, hey, you should do this? Or what did all that look like?
Ultimately, I said I should do this. This is the last few years has been me being full-time in my coaching practice. But I had a long career in corporate America in tech. 5 different careers, but the one that's most relevant to this conversation is I did 11 years in compensation. So determining what to pay people, that function of HR that says your salary is this, your bonus is this, your equity grant is this. So somebody has to figure out all those numbers, and I was in that department. And I did it at 4 different tech companies. I was at SpaceX, Activision Blizzard, DoorDash, and AECom. And I started out in executive compensation at AECom, which is Fortune 500. This is LA most of my career, and moved through those 4 companies, got to see how compensation works and how people move through organizations. And once I saw how the game worked, I was like, why isn't this taught?
Yeah, it is a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the salary negotiation game, how to advance your career, how to ask for promotions and when, and what to do to develop executive presence, which is probably the biggest thing that's recognized but never talked about. It's the most valued but never talked about in someone's career. It's how you advance your career.
What is that?
Well, executive presence has multiple principles, but in short, executive presence, if you embody the 6 principles that I've kind of reverse engineered, is ultimately you're imbuing trust across not just to your upper management, but cross functionally and to your team if you have people that report to you.
We've talked a little bit about trust a few times in past episodes, and it reminds me of Simon Sinek's presentation. How we don't have measurements for things like this, and yet we should.
Yeah.
Navy SEALs, I know they would take a level 10 operator with low trust levels, and they'll kick him out.
Yep.
Whereas if you have a level 7 operator, somebody that's decent at their job but not the best, as long as they're trustworthy, they'll keep them in.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's big. So, okay. Is it possible to bullet point these 6 points you're talking about that you reverse engineered?
Totally.
Okay.
So in short, the first one is competence. And the rounding up of that is high performance, but notice I said competence, right? Because think about executive presence as a skyscraper. The foundation that's under the ground that you don't see is competence in your role because it's expected, right? So that's implied and assumed. You need to have at least competence in your role. Second is the ability to round up. Take a shot.
In which way?
So especially when you're
Metaphorically speaking.
yeah, but like earlier mid-career, but like when you're putting analyses together and you put the data together and you're like, okay, here it is. Well, what should we do? And, you know, what do the numbers mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or there's a suggestion someone else makes. How can you add on to that?
Right.
Rather than just like, I did the thing that was asked of me and I'm done. Here it is back to you. Like, what are you adding?
Yeah.
So rounding up, differentiating and showing that you have autonomous thinking.
Dang.
Second is be concise. A lot of people are very verbose. They actually have the right answer, but the communication style isn't facilitating that answer coming through.
Reminds me of the book Simply Said. I don't remember who wrote that. Not coming to mind. It was one of the longest books I've ever read, and ironically, it talks about keeping things simple, short.
Could the book
point.
have just been the cover page?
Yes.
It's just like a sheet of paper. Like, here's a book.
Right. Get to the point.
Yeah.
Right. Go ahead.
This one's actually, I think, one of my favorites. It's don't catastrophize.
Oh, snap. There's never an emergency in real estate. Just like there's never an emergency in the office.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you got stories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like that. Never catastrophize.
See, don't catastrophize.
Because you're like sounding the alarms unnecessarily and you're provoking everybody's emotion when that doesn't help anything.
Yeah.
Is that right? Is that accurate?
100%. Because it's ultimately about you want to come off as not having control of the situation. It's not about being, overly optimistic either, but not coming off as like you don't have control of the situation over your own emotions. Just being able to think like, hey, yes, there's a challenge. We've lost X amount of revenue. Here's some solutions I think we should start pursuing to get it back.
Okay. Oh, that's good. Right. Yeah, just keep it under control.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The next is be willing to be visible.
Don't hide behind the curtain.
Yes.
Yeah. To my understanding, a lot of executives do a lot of speeches or trainings. Right?
Yep.
They're face to face with the organization. Right?
Yep.
Henry Ford actually stood outside of his factory while all the employees would walk in and he'd say hello to them in the mornings.
Wow.
I don't know how often he did that, yet I know he did that.
That type of, from the upper level management down, that type of visibility is actually very good.
Mm-hmm.
When I was at SpaceX, we had, there were so many people at the main campus that we had to get like ancillary parking structures. And so they rented this abandoned mall's parking lot. It looked like The Walking Dead. But so we had to take shuttles for it was like a 13-minute drive.
Yep.
After we parked our cars. And one day I saw Gwen Shotwell, our president and COO, on the shuttle at like 8:30 or 9 o'clock at night.
Serious.
Going because she parked over there once a week or something. And I was like, wow.
Dude.
She does not have to.
I don't know who that is, but she's probably way up there on the ladder in SpaceX.
Well, it's her, Elon. So.
Yeah, she's up there.
Yeah.
God dang.
President and COO. So, yeah, anyway, that type of executive visibility.
Yeah.
But that's expected from executives. I'm talking about when you're advancing your career, are you willing to be visible?
Right. Put yourself out there. Host some stuff.
Host some stuff. Oh, yeah.
In the network.
People could learn a lot from you.
Thank you.
You're out there.
Trying.
Yeah.
Getting there.
And so the people who have the right answer, I've seen a lot of people who are technically proficient beyond all comprehension, but they are introverted. They are, they hide at their desk back when people had desks. Now maybe it's, especially in remote environments, distributed environments, the willingness to be visible is very important to stay top of mind. And also to get opportunities and to be tapped for the next thing. So
that awareness is big.
It is.
I'm sure there's somebody listening to this right now saying, whoa, I should probably put myself out there more.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and kind of rounding out, the next and probably the most important is managing up.
What does that mean?
So managing up, imagine you're paddling on a river and behind you is a waterfall.
Yeah.
If you don't manage up, you will be pushed over the falls. If you kind of manage up, you'll tread water and maybe stay where you're at.
Yeah.
It takes effective managing up consistently to actually move forward against the current in corporate America and tech.
Dang.
And so managing up looks like an understanding that when management tells you something, it's actually a two-way conversation.
Interesting.
Which is spicy for some people, perhaps, in some situations. And it's not about being recalcitrant and always pushing back. It's about when management says, we should do this. And you go, gosh, I know my team, I know the market, that actually strategy would not work, or there's some things missing, or I need more capacity and resources to pull it off. Because when you don't manage up, two things happen. Number one, you're more prone to burnout. And number two, you're prone to not working on the right things.
Right. Yeah. Iron sharpens iron. So be the iron.
Yeah, exactly.
Be helpful. Contribute.
Totally. And the ability to manage up, have that conversation, to not feel fear such that you can't, push back on a senior director or a VP, right? You will never make it to those ranks if you don't have that courage and that ability to manage a difficult conversation.
Yeah, because in leadership, you're going to have them. It's inevitable.
And I like to say that these skills, these pillars are for people who do not want to make it to management or the C-suite. If you just want to be an individual contributor to excel how much you advance in that track and how much you make, these pillars are equally important for you too.
Reminds me, if anybody's looking for a great example of this, they should watch the show Suits.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's a great, yeah.
Because you got young Mike, right?
Yeah.
That guy contributes. He pushes back. He calls people out.
Right.
Yeah, he tells the owner of the company, he's like, get your stuff together, lady. Sometimes.
Yes.
But it's all fair, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. The most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but like Harvey, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, he embodies all of these. He's managed up. He's concise. He's willing to be visible. He doesn't catastrophize.
He's always got a cool head on him.
Yeah, always.
Well, unless provoked,
Usually.
somebody asks for it.
Unless somebody wrote into the script that he shouldn't.
Yeah, right. Right. Taking on the holies.
Yeah.
Chill guy.
Yeah.
That's good.
So
Dang.
these are things I observed just in my time in corporate America. They're not just things I did. They're, compensation, working in HR and that function is like working, on a skyscraper, but there's an elevator outside and you get to go up and down and look into every single floor.
Mm-hmm.
And so just seeing the way people move the organizations, I'm like, why? Why can they?
Yeah. So you boiled this down to a science.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is what explains people who are good at their job that don't get promoted.
Right.
As much as people who maybe seem like they're okay, but they just seem to move through the organization faster. That was the thing. That's what I realized. Performance is not everything.
No.
It's embodying these other principles.
Performance is not everything.
Correct. You can be the best performer, but if you're not visible, you don't push back or manage difficult conversations, you're too verbose in meetings. When problems come up, you solve the problem well, but initially you're like freaked out about it. You catastrophize, right? That all hurts your brand equity and doesn't imbue trust.
Wow.
Because you want to move up an organizational chart, think about like surface tension of water of that Yeti mug, right? If it was filled to the brim, we know surface tension of the water actually go above the brim. And that surface tension in your career allows you to get above to where you actually are, above your current level of skill set and experience. So this is what I hope people can embody, because you don't need all the credentials and qualifications to move ahead. This is how people get tapped to say, hey, you need to go run this other division or this other market or this other org. You've never actually had the experience, but we just think you can do it.
It's about taking a proactive approach.
Yeah.
Because once you start looking for the answers, you're going to find them.
Yeah.
You're going to find the speaking opportunities, the training opportunities, the visibility.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's going to naturally present itself.
Well, everything is a vacuum.
Oh. How is it?
Most things are a vacuum.
Tell me more.
And so it's going to get filled one way or another. Is it with someone else's narrative or yours?
Oh, snap. Yeah. And that boils down to choice, which we cover often here.
Yeah.
The choice is yours. If you want it, you can have it.
Yeah.
It's yours for the taking.
Yeah.
Just make the decision.
Right.
Right? Okay. So you're doing the SpaceX thing.
I was.
And then what happened next?
I was there for 6.5 years. It was a wild ride, but it really hit me one day. I was like, my dream for me, my personal dream, is greater than the dream of going to Mars, right? And I still think it's an amazing mission, but I just figured I know what I want to do, how I want to serve, and how I want my life to be structured. So, having seen how the game works, I wanted to start teaching salary negotiation. And then I advanced into career coaching. And then I got my first certification because I wanted to help the whole person become a whole person life coach. And, that was the beginning of my journey. It's now 7 years ago, that first certification. But seeing how I could contribute in a way that felt regenerative to me was the first time I felt that. Because my whole career, I had 5 different careers in corporate America and tech and small business, learned a lot, but I was always pursuing like what feels the most authentic, what do I truly enjoy, and I wasn't finding it. And so I was looking for opportunities. I wanted cool companies and great economic opportunity. But what was missing is how much is my heart in this?
Fulfillment.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. And another thing that we've been covering, coincidentally, the past 2 episodes, the word excitement came up.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 different high performance coaches and completely different subcategories than you. But they talked about excitement and helping their clients get that.
Yeah.
Right. It seems to me like you found the exciting path for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. And that's what was important to me. It was no longer making the sacrifice is always inherent to some type of growth. But I was tired of making a sacrifice of like my energy and my time to an extreme way where I wasn't getting the ROI. And I had the ROI, return on investment. The ROI I was looking for was a return on intention. So, and that's what I wanted to incorporate into the next phase of what I did.
And you've been getting that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. The last 2 years, year and a half of like full-time in my coaching practice has been very rewarding. And like I work a lot. I work SpaceX type intensity to build my business.
Yes.
I'm traveling a lot. I go to conferences. I make a lot of overtures just to go out and find people who may need my help.
When you say you travel a lot for your work, what does that look like?
Conferences.
Yeah.
Local and also across the continent.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to NVIDIA's GTC conference last year. I was in Canada, went to Chicago. So yeah.
When you go to these conferences, what's your plan?
My plan is to connect initially.
Is it with your ideal clientele?
Yeah, I select the conference based on do I think my ideal customer avatar will be there. But also it's like, sure, I can learn stuff as well. Like I've been to family office conferences, like NVIDIA's AI conference, learned a lot there. So all those things kind of culminate into it's going to be a good experience regardless. But I want to at least connect with people. And then, as you know, like coaching is about people self-selecting. I'm not looking to sell anything when I'm there. It's more about connecting, finding opportunities, and say, is there a conversation we should have?
Dang. Okay. When did you get your first official client for this?
Oh, like 7 years ago.
7 years.
Like I've been coaching on the side.
Yeah.
And then when I exited fully, then I went full bore.
Got it.
So
7 years ago, how did you get that client?
It was actually a referral from a coaching program I was thinking about buying. And their sales guy sent me somebody.
No kidding.
Yeah. And that was a high performance client.
Yeah.
And then from there, it was stuff from my network primarily. And then people started to figure out what I do. And then I'll get calls on a Thursday. It's like, hey, I just got an offer. The recruiter's going to send me the stuff on Monday, they said. So they'd sign up and we'd prepare all weekend. And then they get the offer Monday. We'd counter and things would be wrapped up by Wednesday.
It's fired up.
Yeah.
Dang. Yeah, because you got that skill set of knowing salaries and bonuses and things like that.
Not just knowing them, but knowing the inner workings of companies.
Yeah.
And what the order of operations is and how you should layer out the conversation.
Dang. So if you're looking to get a raise, you should definitely call Aaron.
Yeah.
For real.
And it's not just about the raise or the negotiation. That happens every 2 to 5 years, negotiating your salary. And what are you doing in between that to build leverage?
Whoa. Okay. Oh, this is great because, yeah, if you're looking to climb that corporate ladder, which a lot of folks are, it's an intricate web.
Yes.
And there are, again, broken down to a science, techniques to help increase your batting average.
Oh, yeah.
It's fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
With one phone call, what's your phone number? How do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, I mean, go to resparkcoaching.com.
Resparkcoaching.com.
And I say Respark because that's the name of my company, Respark Coaching, because I believe we're all born with a fire inside of us. But sometimes it gets put out, so it needs to be resparked.
100%.
So you're the torch on the lighter.
Yeah, stay fired up.
Yep. Stay fired up.
All right, so when it comes to wins with your first client, do you remember that first client? Remember what happened with them?
Yeah.
How did they do once you started working together?
They did great. So as a guy, so it was before I started to focus on women, which I still haven't answered that question, so we should get to that.
No, we're going to get there.
But he was an entrepreneur, a digital marketer, a family man, and he had 2 things. He was trying to figure out, he was working a job, but also wanting to go start his own thing. So there's that debate.
Yeah.
And the second was just kind of working on some personal habits, so around some fitness and some diet, and how to optimize those, because he said he was struggling being consistent. So we worked on both of those to help get him the clarity, because coaching is important. It's not consulting. I'd say
There's a big difference. There's a different hat.
it is. And the most consulting I get is usually around the salary negotiation stuff, where it like edges into that a little bit.
Where you say, hey, do this, and they do it.
Almost.
Okay.
Not without a lot of checking first.
Mm.
Because it's like, here's like the low, medium, and high version of what you can do. How much do you really want to push it? Right? Because a lot of people I work with, it's their first time really negotiating, really squeezing and using the leverage they've built.
It's a built muscle in negotiations.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And because we said it happens every 2 to 5 years, right? So especially like if you switch jobs 7 times in your career, so you're corporate your whole life, and it takes 1 minute to say the words to negotiate, that's 7 minutes to negotiate your entire life's earnings.
Whoa.
Right? So it's not a minute that we get trained for or we get to prepare for, and it just kind of happens.
Oh my God.
So
Put it like that, dude. That's heavy.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
God. That happens to so many people.
So many people.
What do you think percentage of the world, if you were to take a wild guess, you might know the answer is business owners compared to employees? How many people are employees, would you say?
Oh, God, 80% minimum.
Probably 80%, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's 80% of the population that needs to be prepared for this conversation.
Correct.
Dude. Okay.
And it's, putting it that way, it's like, it's pretty powerful, right? To understand. And here's the other thing to overlay. Your career grows linearly, but your leverage grows exponentially. So say you come out of college and you try and negotiate your first job, which I advocate everyone do, right? Just to get the rep.
Tried it.
At a minimum.
Why not?
And you never know what can happen.
It's just a game.
But at minimum, it's the rep. Because even if they're like, hey, thanks for asking, but no, you're an intern for 3 months, and then now you're going to work at, our engineering firm or marketing firm, whatever. Everyone's the same coming in. That would still be a win if you tried, because 2 years later, you're going to have more leverage. And then 5 years later, you're going to have even more. And that's how the linear growth of a career, people think about that, but your leverage growing exponentially. If you don't take each shot to ask, you may not, unless you work with a coach like myself, who's going to show you how much leverage you have and how to do it. You may under ask. You may not squeeze as much as you could.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the biggest thing.
Have you ever gone so far or helped somebody go so far in the negotiations to line up a second position in the event that they're so unhappy and they need this big promotion to make it even worth it, and they line up another position as, to get that leverage in their negotiation so they can go to their boss and say, hey, look, if you don't do this, I'm out. Has that ever come up in conversation by chance?
Yeah, it has. It's the nuclear option.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And so that'd be like the high.
But it has come up.
Oh, totally. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's either whether it's actually happened, like they do have another offer, or they have gone and interviewed and gotten that far in the interview loop to be like, yeah, I think I could use this as leverage, or just thinking about it, like, do I have to go do this? Because corporate America is very weird. They give you a lot of runaround.
It's weird
when you ask for money, and then they say no, and then you go get another offer, and then they fall over themselves to try and fix it. It's like, do you remember 6 months ago when I asked?
It's just like when you're going to buy a car. You tell them, I'm going to go to the other dealer down the street. And they go, oh, hey, wait, come back. Oh,
yeah.
Cut 10 grand off. Like, what?
Exactly.
What? Yeah.
I use the car lot analogy, actually, a lot. Yeah. I won't go into it now, but.
There's a lot of distrust when it comes to car sales. And it seems to me like there's probably a lot of distrust in the hierarchical system.
Yeah, because it's a feature, not a bug. I have a client who's at a very large tech company we all know, and she's not trying to leave. She's asking for an outsized equity grant, just to kind of recognize her for the time, not just the time she's been there. It's all about value and contribution. And you have to push it if you really want to be valued properly. Because if you're quiet, the corporate machine would just assume you're happy. And you just get the black box default algorithmic spit out of like what your performance review rating equals in the raise or the bonus.
Sure.
So if you want more than the programmatic amount, you have to have conversations. And then that means entering a bit of a hero's journey talking to your managers, step one, they're gonna usually slow roll you. Hopefully you've embodied the executive presence, and then you have visibility of your skip level.
Yeah.
Ultimately, getting to talk to them is like where the rubber really meets the road. If you're getting resistance at your manager level,
I'd say it's safe to say that the first time that you should prepare for your salary increase is day one of your job.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
And back when I was in corporate, I had a folder in my email of all my accolades. People said good job, and also just notes I would make about I think I did a good job in this project, so that when it came time for your own review, because you have to write up your own review, you wouldn't scramble, have to think, what did I do the last year?
Keep a record of it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, that's good.
Not only what you did, but also what other people said about you.
Yeah.
And this feels like boasting to some people, which feels like, being too grandiose, and they don't want to brag.
Hey, you got to scream from the mountaintop your wins.
I was like, no matter if you're in engineering, product, finance, everybody works in marketing for yourself.
Exactly. Grant Cardone said it best. Be obsessed or be average. We're always selling something all the time.
Yeah.
Most of the time we're selling ourselves.
He also said it's not about who you know, it's about who knows me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yep. So when it comes to getting into coaching, I'm curious if there's any deeply embedded subconscious drivers for you that makes you want to help people so much in
Yeah.
this regard.
That's a nice, deep question.
We're going there.
Yeah.
Where do you think this came from?
I feel like I've always been a natural coach because I care.
You feel like it.
Yeah.
What does it feel like?
Well, it feels like when someone brings a problem to me or some type of challenge, I'm not like, oh, that sucks. Anyway,
So
I'm
you
like,
can create that space.
let's get into it.
Yes. So you must be a patient person.
Usually.
Right.
Slow internet and traffic, different topic, but
Same. Yeah, for real. So you've got patience. You've got the natural incline to be able to help people.
yeah,
Yeah.
the natural desire. And I have this natural belief in people and in their ability and what's possible.
Where'd that belief come from? I know where mine came from.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think from where I came from, middle of nowhere, Alaska, and just having a vision of like, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
And then I ended up, the state motto of Alaska is the last frontier, which is very true. I chopped a lot of firewood to prove it.
This guy's got callous side of Denali Mountains.
Yes, exactly. Denali, there you go. And so to make it short though, I went from Alaska to SpaceX. I went from the last frontier to the final frontier, all from vision.
Yeah.
And I didn't architect it.
Why'd you want to get out of Alaska so bad?
Yeah, I grew up in a rural place, no electricity, chopping firewood in the summer, doing a bunch of manual labor.
Like Brendan Burchard. His house didn't have electricity.
Yeah, in Montana. He was my first certification.
Fired up.
Certified high performance coach. But yeah, it troublesome home life, two bad stepdads, seeing my mom not have a great experience in life, and just understanding that there's more out there in the world. And I wanted to create opportunity. I didn't want to work in a logging camp. I didn't want to stay in the small town and get a job at like a local retailer or the sawmill or like the cruise ship industry or something like that. Like I was hell-bent on success.
I heard this the other day. I'm not sure what your thoughts are. That high achievers are typically chasing something or running from something. Would you say that you're running from something here?
Yeah, people are like, oh, did you stay in Alaska after high school graduation? I'm like, no, there's an Aaron-shaped hole in the door. Like I wanted out. I wanted to go to college and I wanted to be successful. So I was chasing and running at the same time, double power.
Sure. Where'd you go to school?
University of Northern Colorado.
Oh, nice.
Which is in a city called Greeley.
Yeah.
And I just showed up. I didn't tour it. I just showed up.
Well, how'd you pay for college?
Partial scholarship.
Yep.
And then worked my face off in the summers to pay for my expenses, and I got student loans in between.
Got it. So you just did whatever it took.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was all me.
Did you see education as a gateway to your freedom?
I saw it at the time, absolutely.
Yeah.
If I was 18 today and I couldn't afford college, I would go work for the best digital marketing firm in town. And in 4 years, no more than a college graduate.
Okay.
Unless I wanted medicine or engineering or sciences, and I couldn't pay for school and I wanted to do business like I did, I would go just do business.
Okay.
But at the time, yeah, it was myopically focused.
Yeah. You were probably in the zone.
In the zone, applying for schools and scholarships and grants. So much. I wanted it so much that my friends, like the guys, we give each other crap. They say, Aaron, you're not going to get into college. That was like the rip.
Like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Got it.
So
that's nice. It's very nice. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So they say college, there's a lot of down talk about college.
yeah.
Yet I think that if it means something to somebody
Oh yeah.
and it gives them that boost, that confidence, or that social connection that they're looking for, then by all means, right? Now you said you were looking back, you wouldn't do it.
If it was today,
If it was today,
with the cost of the way school is today,
right? Cost
Looking
of school,
back,
the amount of time,
100%, 1,000% happy I did.
it was right on.
Oh yeah.
Now we gotta talk about the female psyche.
I know.
Come on.
I know.
I'm asking you, dude to dude, I want to know this stuff. So, what do you notice? Do you work with a bunch of women?
Right.
What are some common things that come up in your conversations? Most frequent things, topics.
It could all be boiled down into one, which is
I like that.
women have built this amazing Roman arch of skill set and experience and value contribution in so many different ways, but they haven't dropped the capstone in of advocating for themselves. I don't think society has made it conducive for women to advocate for themselves.
How do they break through?
So when I work with somebody, it's not just tactics and like, oh, your company, your manager says this, you should do this. We start with their own somatic experience and their own emotional truth of what's going to power them forward to say the words that are necessary to move forward in their business or career or their personal life. So tap it into, and each coaching client's different how deep we go. And not everyone's at the same place. Some are like, I will, I just don't know how. What are the right words to say? What's the right way to navigate this? Others are like, I want to, I feel very shut down. I don't know how to say it, and I'm scared to even try. Because the three biggest fears that women express about negotiating are they don't want to seem like they're coming off as greedy, as too much, or rocking the boat.
Serious.
Yeah.
Can you repeat that list one more time?
They don't want to be seen as greedy, come off as too much, or rock the boat.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So all the women listening out there, reflect upon those three things just for a second and ask yourself, is this me?
Yeah.
Does this show itself in my life?
Yeah.
My internal dialogue.
Yeah.
That's good.
And it's not about that makes them weak or something like that. And there's a lot of women who have done amazing things in business and in career who still have elements of this. Like I've worked with women who are senior director or VP level, and stuff like this still comes up.
Dang.
And so, and it shows that obviously that they've worked through a lot of it to move up the org chart the way they have, right? This doesn't plague only someone who is early in their career. And it also doesn't have to plague you forever, right? It's about understanding that when you recognize your own worth and your own power and your own contribution, and that it's really just sometimes a sentence away.
Truly.
Yeah.
Truly. The success of our business and our lives is embedded in the most minute details, even down to one sentence.
Yes. And that's what I do. I help women manage the most difficult conversations of their lives.
It's fired up. I
Yeah.
said it before. I'm saying it again.
Yeah.
Hey, would you say, okay, let's have a little fun with this now. Okay, greed. Women, they're afraid of being greedy.
Right.
Okay? Let's talk about men. Are men the opposite? What's the opposite of greed? I don't know. I don't even know what the opposite of greed is. Giving? Overly giving? You think men have the fear of being overly giving when they have these conversations? No. That sounds ridiculous. Do men have that same fear then of being greedy?
Sometimes, but probably not to the same degree.
Not to the same degree.
Right. Because I have encountered dudes that, I've helped with negotiations, and they some of the stuff they say sounds similar. It's just not as severe.
What about the tranquility piece? Right? They don't want to rock the boat.
Yeah.
Well, with men, I think most dudes wouldn't care at all. They wouldn't think twice. They'd be like, yeah, whatever. If I lose, I don't care.
It depends.
Depends?
It depends a lot. I would say my experience, these these things affect women more, but men are not absolved from it.
Now, we don't need to get into the details here, but would you say that men have top 3 things when it comes to this stuff?
Yeah, I would say. So let me drop the stat on you real quick.
Oh, I love stats.
It's so applying for a job.
Yeah.
And men will look at a job and be like, if I'm at least 60% qualified, I'll apply for the job. If women aren't 90% qualified, they won't apply.
I heard that.
Yeah.
You told me that.
Yeah, I think
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I quote myself.
Keep doing that.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to self-help books, I also learned that the majority of them are read by women. 90% of them are read by women.
So as a coach, I've done a lot of work on myself,
Yeah.
and I'm in coaching containers of other coaches, and I still am. It's 70 to 90% women.
70 to 90.
Yeah.
You all heard that.
Yeah.
Now, I think that's interesting because why do you think that is?
Well, and this may be a good time to get into like why I help women specifically. So when I was starting out doing life coaching and salary negotiation consults, when I expanded to both, the life coaching was 50-50 split between men and women clients. The salary negotiation consults, 90% women, just like default. And I was like, well, what's going on here? Well, women have done amazing things, but society hasn't made it conducive for them to advocate for themselves, yet they're willing to raise their hand and ask for help. And I wonder, it seems like there's a vast disparity between the desire to ask for help between men and women.
Dang.
Because like as guys, I know I've gone through periods, I just like grind it out.
Yep.
Right? You don't ask.
No, just get to work.
Just get to work. And I think there's a lot of power and value in saying, I need help. If you can slingshot yourself forward, collapse time, learn from somebody else, that's amazing.
Yeah. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
It can be.
And I think the other side is also maybe flipped too. It's like not every single guy who doesn't ask for help is in some type of crisis. They also think, I got it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe some of these women I've worked with have determined that like, hey, I actually don't know what to do here. I've had conversations in the past, negotiations in the past that just didn't feel like I got as much as I could. And then they encounter somebody like me. I'm like, okay, I'm going to ask for help. It's also like what I do is very unique. There's not a lot of people that have the variety of skill sets that I have.
Sure.
Total flex, but it's true.
Hey, safe as mountaintop.
I mean, it's not bragging if it's true.
Bingo.
Which is why I tell my clients who are afraid to boast, because you have to be that self-promoter.
What a great principle, by the way. That's one to repeat to ourselves often, to remember that.
Yeah.
If it's not bragging, if it's true. And then that begs the question, what do I need to do to make it true?
Right.
Right? And then you can start focusing on the important stuff.
Right.
Okay.
And so that's how I help, that's like a very, very surface level way of how I help my clients advocate for themselves. Because if you're going to go on a campaign of asking for more money or promotion, some type of change that isn't just default given to you, you're going to have to believe in yourself and evangelize your message in an organization with people that you don't know if they're on the same page or not.
Why women?
So I saw those 3 things, like,
Yeah.
Women done amazing things. Society hasn't made it conducive for them to advocate for themselves. And like, I don't like anyone being repressed.
Does this have anything to do with what you had witnessed in your household
I'm
growing
about
up?
to get to that.
Oh, shoot.
But the ultimate coup de grace of why is I saw my mom in her power and not in her power, and the cascading effects of both. So if I can help a woman use her voice to be in her power, change her economic situation, her life situation, her career, something, the way that ripple effect will help her current or future children, or her people around her, whoever she cares about. That ripple effect of when a woman uses her voice and maintains boundaries, sets standards, advocates for herself so she can get what she's worked so hard for. I think that is very rewarding to me, just to know that I was a little part of that.
Yeah, dude. Dang.
Yeah.
You got me self-reflecting over here as to why I'm driven the way I am, why I'm wired the way I am. I think a lot has to do with my mother as well.
Yeah.
When she died of cancer, she was just very weak and like 100 pounds, and I looked at her life and I'm thinking to myself, there's so much more out there, and if we had more resources, financial resources, she could have perhaps lived a more fulfilled life, or maybe we would have opportunity to get her different care,
Yeah.
or or something. I think it would just help. Even if it was helped her 5% more,
Yeah.
it would have been worth it.
Yeah.
Worth doing the work to have the resources. And I think that that's something that drives me. Like,
Yeah.
it's just a light bulb that's going off as we're chatting here. Because that's energy, man. When you see your mom like that, that's energy.
Oh, yeah.
And that can be hard.
It's very hard.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
And in life, as we go through life, it's all about learning to manage the energy.
Yeah.
Because that can crush you, or you can turn it into something gold.
Totally.
And here's what you're doing. You're turning it into gold.
And I couldn't have planned it.
Right.
Because, like, I was hell-bent on being successful in corporate America. Couldn't even envision being my own business. And then realizing, looking back, this sort of Byzantine career path come together was actually set me up perfectly to do what I do. Because, like, I've navigated so many different economic environments, different types of companies, scenarios, like a lot, pretty much everything when it comes to salary negotiation, career stuff, everything I've done, or everything I ask my clients to do, I've done.
Right.
But I appreciate you sharing about your mom.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really drives me is, like, if my mom had better command of her voice at certain times of her life, she wouldn't have gotten involved with certain kind of men, which would put me as a kid and my brother and, you know, three of us in certain situations that, you know, have impacted me even till today. And it led to my coaching journey, a lot of therapy, a lot of coaching, a lot of self-development work. I spent the GDP of a small country in self-development.
You did?
Yeah.
Wow. Freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Nice work.
Thanks.
I got this buzzing topic at the top of my head right now, man.
Hit me.
I gotta get it off my mind. Shame. Do you ever have internal dialogue that talks that you feel shame for using that as your energy source?
No.
Like you don't ever feel bad about this being a driver for you?
Never considered it as a shameful thing.
No.
Yeah.
No. Maybe that's not the word I'm looking for then. I don't know. 'Cause
Remorse.
it's somewhat of a hole, I feel, when I think about it. Because it makes me so, like, when I think about my mom and stuff, it just makes me really, like, and I think where I seesaw is maybe it can drive you to get carried away with your focus, you know, where it puts you over the top.
Yeah.
Like if you're angry and you got a chip on your shoulder, right?
I've been there before.
And then you just go so hard, and you put your blinders on, and then it can get over the top, yeah? Has that happened to you? You said?
Yeah, it's happened less. It happened recently. I was traveling, just, you know, hanging out with people. And the bat signal in the sky for me is with anybody, but specifically with women, when I hear them diminish themselves.
Yeah.
And because I'm potentially, I don't know, like 10% insane, because I think I can do anything, like, or anything's possible, right?
Yeah.
That's why I could go from some dude from Alaska who went to LA and just with no, like, real clear, like, what do you do again? You know, I've had 5 different careers. I ended up at SpaceX, right? And I lasted 6.5 years there. So
you say lasted, it feels like you're doomed.
most people have an expiration date.
Okay. All right.
Just welcome to tech and corporate America and Elon specific companies potentially, but it's a wild ride. But the point is, I just think anything's possible,
Sure.
especially like in business. And so when I hear someone diminish themselves, I'm like, because again, I have this natural belief in other people.
Yeah.
And so, like, as a coach, we can't do that, right? But in a social situation, I found myself getting, like, hyped up on behalf of this woman. And, like, no, you absolutely can. Like, and I said, just the way you apologetically asked the waiter for the Wi-Fi password tells me that your negotiation skills aren't where they need to be.
Sorry.
Which is like a little rock and roll thing to say.
Yeah.
And I had to, and she took it well, but
You're on the tilly going, that was good.
So I'm echoing what you said.
Yeah.
Because I am pretty motivated to help. But it has to be calibrated. And coaching is all about self-selection and safety. So the customer, whoever wants to work with me, has to opt into it, self-select, and then I create a very safe container so that anything can be said, anything can be worked on, because all of you is welcome when someone works with me, so that nothing's left to hide. Because as a friend and mentor, Preston Smile says, we cannot intervene into a world we cannot see. And so if we're not willing to see, or if we're afraid to go there, we can't get the transformation as much.
Right. And we're going to talk about that. That's a great segue into what I was going to bring up. The tunnel, okay?
The tunnel.
In life,
Yeah.
we go through many tunnels. We don't know when they're going to come up at times. Sometimes we choose them. Basically, the tunnel is a place of darkness, and it's scary.
Yeah.
And you might not see a light at the end, but you just keep walking, trusting the process.
Yeah.
Again, some things are in our control, some things aren't.
Right.
Like entrepreneurship, you're like, all right, I'm about to get into some crap. Here we go.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Life events, different story.
Yeah.
It seems to me like you've been through a plethora of tunnels, right? And sometimes in some segments of your life, you're at the top of the mountain, whereas other segments, you still might be going through a tunnel and vice versa, whatever. It happens. My point in bringing this up is, where did you go in those times of your life to keep on going, to get through the tunnel? What were you saying to yourself?
It has been an internal dialogue about drive and never wanting to quit.
And why?
Partially, I think, was initially sparked by that running initially, just wanting out of the situation I grew up in so bad.
Why'd you want out of the situation so bad?
I mean, look, abusive household, grew up in the middle of nowhere, Alaska. My friends, I didn't have electricity for a long time, but I had friends who had TV. So I'd watch TV at their house and be like, there's a world out there that I want to be a part of. Like, this is not working for me here.
You felt isolated.
Isolated, but also like, if I do not leave this space, I will feel repressed and unable to expand and just live fully in the way that I want.
Okay. So why do you want to expand and live fully the way that you want?
I mean, isn't that the whole point of life?
Not for everyone.
Yeah, good point.
Why you?
I think because, I don't know, maybe it's a gift in some way, but the repression and the challenge young just showed me like an extreme opposite. So then I had to like create my own internal narrative about like why I don't want that anymore, and that it's time to get out, and what I'm willing to do that. And so that's like, I'll go to school, work, pay for it. Like, school's the ticket out. Those are my myopic focus. Graduate college. All right, now it's time to kick ass in business. I don't know what I want to do. I just want to kick ass.
Yeah.
And so that led to like sheer volumes of work. I had a crazy door-to-door sales job.
That is crazy.
In Denver.
You got to be a little nuts to do that.
Yeah. Selling trash service to businesses.
My God.
And long-distance AT&T phone service.
Yeah.
Two different campaigns.
Wow.
But like, straight commission, drive everywhere. Like, yeah.
You know, that door knocking, I feel like there's a few things in life that everybody should go through. It's all opinion-based, this is what I'm about to say. One's boot camp, military boot camp. 2 is living in Manhattan for just a year.
Just a year.
And 3, door knocking.
Yeah.
As a living for, I don't know, a couple months at least.
Sounds like you've done all 3.
Yeah.
What's tougher, boot camp or living in Manhattan?
You know, well, Manhattan wasn't necessarily tough. It's just the worldly experience that you get for being at such a melting pot.
Yeah.
How you walk down one block and you see 100 people from 100 different countries. It's
pretty cool.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just for the experience.
Yep.
Yeah. Door knocking compared to boot camp. Yeah, door knocking was harder for me than boot camp.
Wow.
Yeah. Boot camp was just a wild experience. It's like another planet. It's like another life.
Yeah.
It's like you're in a movie. It's weird.
Yeah.
But great.
Yeah, I bet.
It pushes you to be a leader.
Yep. I've
good.
heard.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Remember one time, we had 2 leadership positions in boot camp.
Yep.
Okay. The RPOC and the AROC. Yeah. Those 2 dudes got to wear the white belt, where everybody else in the division, about 100 men, wore a blue belt. Yeah. So the 2 dudes got to wear the white belt. And I wanted to apply for the job. So one of the roles as the AROC, they'd call cadence. 8, 4, 1, 2, 3, division, halt.
Right.
And then we stop. So I was singing in the compartment all the time. Everybody's like, dude, you got to do this. You're the best. I'm like, okay, here we go. I knocked on the petty officer's door. I said, petty officer, I want to apply for the AROC position. He goes, Carlson, start calling cadence right now. Ready, go, and march in place. So I'm marching in place. calling cadence at the top of my lungs. Everybody's looking at me like, what the heck's this dude doing? And I'm like, holy shit, what's going on right now?
I'm applying for the job right now.
Oh. And he goes, hey, Hulk Carlson. I'm like, oh. He goes, all right, now go into the head, go in the shower stall, and keep calling cadence. I'm like, okay. So I went into the bathroom, into the shower stall, which is the size of his room. And I started calling cadence, just echoing throughout the whole compartment. And then sure enough, my buddies come in and they're like, what is this? And I couldn't say anything to him. I can't tell him what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because that's not my orders. My
Right.
orders is just keep calling cadence.
You can't change.
Can't change. And then we had a inspection. We crushed it. At the end of the inspection, petty officer goes, Carlson, get up here. I was in line by height, so I was in the back of the line. I walk up front. He takes the pin off the current A-Rock. We got special pins, too. He took it off his chest. Bing. He goes, get over here. Bing. Put it on me.
Wow.
Boom.
You got what you wanted.
I don't know where I'm going with that story.
Well, I took life from it is you stepped up to the plate in the moment.
Yeah, and that environment encouraged that. Because I don't know if I've really done something like that in my life. Speaking of environment, I've read a statistic that your success is 80% based off your environment.
Yeah, I believe that.
Right?
Yeah.
So by you coaching people, right, they might not be in an environment. Their house might suck. They might have a crappy husband, right? Because you're coaching these women.
Yeah.
By you being there by their side, you become a part of their environment.
Right.
Become an advocate for them.
Yeah.
And that one sliver of their life could be the game changer for everything they've ever.
Yeah. Especially as they move up the org chart.
Wow.
Because the air gets thinner and you can't talk to your team about stuff. You can't talk to your manager or like a VP or an SCP or something or a C-suite.
Right.
And maybe your friend, I had a client say this to me yesterday that she can't, she has a lot of friends. She loves her friends. She'll always be a woman who came up, with them, but she's outpaced them, like pretty much everybody. And so she can't have the same type of discussions about what life is like, what her challenges are. And so then where is that space? And so yes, as a coach, that's something we get into, but I think it's also important to curate your social circle.
100%.
I mean, keep the people that you've came up with, of course, but make sure that you're adding that new people that see where you're at and can truly provide that, at least a reflection or a mirror or a space, if not advice, about the challenges that you face in this new realm.
Yes. Well said. Well said. Light bulb just went off. That's exactly why I created Elite League International, a mastermind group for men that are looking to squeeze every last drop out of life. And they want to get to go together further, faster with others. So if you're looking for, if you want to add rocket fuel to your life, EliteLeagueInternational.com. If you're a woman looking to climb the ranks, make sure to go to
Coaching.com.
ResparkCoaching.com. Holy crap. Last topic we got to cover today, man, because I'm all about figuring out how you got help to get to where you are. Was that through podcasts or books, or did you have a mentor? Where did you learn about this, how to tap into the abundance?
Yeah. It started with books and podcasts. Then I got coaches, and I got pretty deep in coaching.
Any most notable books for your reading career?
Gosh, it's funny. I listen to so many podcasts now. What was a book?
Think you're back in college. You picked up that book.
Yeah.
Like, oh, snap.
Gosh.
You probably read a lot of books.
I've read a lot, and it's all like,
What about a podcast host?
I got to mention Preston Smiles.
Yeah.
I'm in his programs, listen to his podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So like he has such a comprehensive view and philosophy. Brendan Burchard, who kind of got me started on my journey. It was my first certification, but just kind of showing like how it could be done. And I resonated with him, because he was a consultant at Accenture. So he's from Montana.
Yeah.
So that's a corporate thing. So I felt like very similar to him.
Yeah.
Like track wise, anyone who is sharing their experience and their challenges that they've gone through is always something I'm looking for. And I'm very business and self-development focused in my content that I consume. So I have a lot of people to pull from.
Yeah. You've curtailed your content consumption to be beneficial for your goals and your dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm always, I mean, I have, I pay for the YouTube so I can listen to it with the screen off, right? It's because I want to learn more always.
100% investment.
Yeah.
YouTube could be a deficit or it can be an investment.
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just like Instagram.
Yeah.
I don't follow, or I follow people, but doesn't mean I look at all their stuff.
Yeah, you don't consume.
I don't consume.
Yeah.
My Instagram is like a vision board. When I go on there, it's like I'm looking at nice houses. I'm listening to Tony Robbins, Brandon Burchard, Tim Ferriss.
Yep.
That's what I'm seeing on Instagram.
Yeah.
I just unfollow all the other stuff.
Yeah, there's so many people that have been all along my journey. Like I did Tony Robbins at, UPW. I walked on the hot coals,
Yes.
Like all of that stuff is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And what I discovered early on was like the implementation, like getting the high and then not doing something. Right. So I've had to become better, even as a coach, like the implementation after you've learned or consumed.
And that's a process in itself.
Yeah.
Because, you go to these conferences, you get all jacked up, yes. And then you go and you have this energy, and yet it gets displaced.
We're going back with your environment comment. Because like your environment arguably catalyzes you to go feel like you need to go to some type of conference, event, workshop, get a coach, whatever.
Yes.
And then you do the thing. Like Tony Robbins UPW, it took me 2 days to come down from that. I was that jacked up. That was amazing. Powerful. And the fact that I could come down and without the same type of reps, wouldn't be able to go back up. So your environment, it's like, wow, we fashion ourselves. We seek safety. Safety and predictability is so human at like the limbic, somatic, basic level.
Dude, we talked about this yesterday on the podcast. Safety.
Mm-hmm.
That's 100%. Makes so much sense. That's why people will get the safe job instead of pursuing their calling.
Yeah. And that's why I think you need either peers around you, a coach, both, something, or the right podcast in your ear.
Yeah.
If you want to go full David Goggins, do it. You know what I mean? But like you need something to just remind you like, hey, if you're safe, great. And if you're secure and you have your basic needs met, awesome. And does your ambition and your desires, is that materially above where you're at? And so there's your invitation to keep pushing it, keep trying.
Let's play this fun little game here for a second, okay? So let's say you wanted to be like Brandon Burchard. Okay, we're gonna work our way down. We're gonna turn the pyramid upside down.
Yeah.
Okay. At the top of the pyramid is like the best thing ever. You're working next to Brandon Burchard, and you've got 50% ownership in his company. That's like, let's say that's the best of the best.
Okay.
But that's gonna cost the most money in some way, shape, or form, perhaps. Sure. Right. And then the next step down, it's going to cost less money. What's the next thing? That's to join his program, right?
Yeah.
His ultra program.
Yeah.
$20,000 a year, I think, something like that. And then what's the next thing down from there?
One of his courses.
A course. How much? $1,200?
Yeah, $1,200, $1,500, $3,000.
$1,200, $3,000. And then the next thing down, what's that?
Probably like he has like low cost seminars that he'll do.
Low cost seminars, $350.
Yeah. And then the next one down is like a book.
And then the book. And then what if you don't have the book?
Podcast. Follow him on social.
Go to the library. Follow him on social. Library's free internet.
Yeah.
Right? My point in bringing this up is that there is literally always a lateral option down to the free level.
Oh, yeah.
And another point behind that is that we literally have it too freaking easy, in a sense, to crush it in life.
It has become, it's like an open field.
Yeah.
And yet we've been conditioned to not run.
Yes. Yes. Dude, I'm getting freaking pumped.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Let's go.
And that's why I took the ambition I had, like almost blind ambition for corporate America. And now I'm putting it into my business.
Mm-hmm.
Because I hit a interesting inflection point. I could never imagine being a business owner.
Hmm.
I was actually scared to be out of a corporate structure and have to like go do it on my own. Long story short, it's flipped and I can't imagine being back. And I only want to be out building things on my own. And how much I used to make in corporate America, I now view as a ceiling, you know, because like my last salary in my last company, I would have killed for like 10 years ago. But now I'm like, gosh, it's great. But at the same time, it's paltry compared to what I think I'm capable of.
What's the cost of freedom?
Whatever you determine it to be. Yeah.
Wow. Holy mackerel. Aaron, again, one last time, how do people get a hold of you?
Aaron Thweatt on Instagram, to AaronThweatt, and my website, resparkcoaching.com.
Folks, you heard it here first. We've got Aaron in the house. This podcast is called the Elite League Podcast. And elite, what that means to us is somebody that's being the light in the dark, that's choosing to impact the community and the world overall.
Yep.
You certainly fit that mold. Thank you for coming in today. This conversation was fired up to say the least. Folks, make sure to hit that thumbs up, smash that subscribe, and most importantly, stay fired up. Till next time.
Boom.
Boom.